All right. What is poppin', party pundits? Welcome to another episode of Pop Talk. This is episode 41. I am Professor Nims. I'm giving it up to my man, the Casual Rand.
What's up, though?
Boston Jared.
Peace.
And the inimitable Coach Dave.
We got Wilder and HELENIUS.
So we're gonna end this with Wilder smashing your boy Robert HELENIUS. This fight, I don't know if it showed us much, except for that Deontay still has this kind of otherworldly power that we've always known. I want to go ahead and state off top that anybody that think this was a farce of a fight, or that Robert threw this fight, you are talking out the side of your arse.
Yeah, go kill. Yeah, go throw yourself down the stairs, man. Yeah, please.
But one thing I was saying, I had, and I'll go ahead. I had said that the kind of punch was, it wasn't like necessarily like garbage, but if you were just the way that it wasn't like it was full extension that he had kind of turned it over. He even kind of landed maybe almost with the inside of the gloves, but that just speaks to the amount of power that he can just generate. And this was going off of it was off the back foot, but he was countering. He was coming out of a corner. We've seen him do that before with Luis Ortiz, but Robert was definitely concussed, was looking up at the lights. His body was stiff, like it was starting to go into rigor mortis already. So with that said, what do you think? So this was in the first round. We saw Wilder trying to move around a little bit. I don't know if it was a little bit, a couple of maybe just trying to get his nerves together. But Boston, were you impressed with this? You know, did it show you anything? And then what do you think is the logical next step for our man?
You can't help but be impressed by this guy's power, man. And I'm somebody. I tell people I'm a third generation boxing fan. I go back and I watched black and white videos that you go with. The resolution is terrible. It is tough to find a guy who has got his kind of uncanny power is crazy. And it's like the guys that come to mind: Shavers, Jackson, Tyson, and I'm sure Dave can pick another couple guys. I mean, it's them guys, and you can't.
Hearns had some good one punch.
Pick another handful of guys. So was I impressed? Again, you can't help but be impressed by a guy with that kind of power. It wasn't much of. He didn't give us much to evaluate, though. I was really looking forward to seeing if he had included any more of this additional skill, if his skill set had improved, if the stuff we were promised going into that third Fury fight had finally started to take hold, and he was going to be able to implement some of the stuff that Malik Scott was teaching him. We didn't see that. I mean, he knocked HELENIUS out with a minute to go in the first round or some shit like that.
Yeah, it was already. But let me ask you this one question though. So part of it where it was, HELENIUS said, Tyson showed us the key, on Fury, in the sense that all you got to do is put him on his back foot, do these other things right. So usually because we're known that he has this kind of, this little step that he does, and then it's this kind of long punch where he generates his power. But maybe part of what he was doing is like, I know that, so I'm gonna box on the back foot a little bit and then just counter off those who are trying to come in on me. And it's not his fault that the guy didn't stand, that. So do you think that was a little bit a part of the plan?
So Wilder had in a post-fight interview, somebody had captured it that they had planned to fight off their back foot. They wanted HELENIUS to reach, is what I remember from the interview. They wanted HELENIUS to reach overcommit and catch him with a counter shot. So this is not my analysis. This is apparently what either Malik Scott or Deontay Wilder disclosed in an interview. So yeah, he came out, he moved around a lot. That was their plan. I will say this: the first thing that I noticed about Wilder, and I did not see the weigh-in, but as soon as he took the robe off, his costume off, I said he looks so much leaner than he did in those last two Fury fights. Whoever told him to put on weight and all that bullshit should be slapped. Like, that was the last thing you needed to do. He looked so much leaner. And when you're leaner and as a person who has been very, very, very bulky at times, and as a person who does not boxing, but I do martial arts and I try to be quick and explosive, I notice the difference when I've got big, massive biceps and triceps and shoulders than when I've got much smaller, leaner biceps and triceps. Your quick twitch and your explosiveness is much better when you're leaner. And I think
absolutely right. You don't want those kind of short, those compact muscles, but even when he puts on the weight, right, it's just kind of torso of him. Like, right, what if he just put on about 10 to 15 pounds on his lower body? Because
that's the last thing you want.
When he was fighting Tyson Fury, he looked at times, he looked like one of those little spinning tops where his legs could barely hold up his body.
Right, but the problem is, from a strength and conditioning standpoint, when you add that mass to the lower body for a boxer or a cyclist, anybody who requires that cardiovascular, that muscular endurance, those muscles in your lower body are oxygen suckers. They're oxygen thieves. And when you get big glutes, big hamstrings, big quads, that oxygen in the blood is going down there, and it's not going up here, and it's not going up here. So what you risk is that muscular endurance failing you towards the end of the fight. So I've heard this argument made about Wilder. Hey, why don't he get his legs bigger? He needs bigger legs. I don't think you do. I don't, especially with Wilder. When you've got that kind of uncanny type of power.
Well, yeah, it's not for the power. It's just for him. I see around the fourth round or something like that. If fighters can get him to that point, he seems to be unsteady on his legs a little bit. But
I don't think that's a strength deficiency. I don't think that's because of a lack of strength. I think that's a technical thing, a skill thing, and the way he throws punches and the way he delivers punches. I don't think a lot of people get this confused when it comes to strength. Strength and muscle mass are not necessarily congruous. You don't have to have big muscles to have strong muscles, especially as a boxer. If you have strong, soft tissues, ligaments, tendons, if those are strong, you can be able to maintain balance. You don't have to have big quads.
No, I'm not. No, I'm saying that. But if somebody is leaning on you, and if they're doing that, your legs are gonna tire. They are.
Yeah, again, big muscles isn't the difference there. Strong muscles, strong tendons is the difference there. Not necessarily big muscles. When you want big muscles, football players need big muscles, right? Because there's size and mass is involved in being able to move guys around. Not so much in boxing. So I don't want to take up too much time and get too far off track, but no.
Yeah, but
Deontay Wilder does not need to add bigger muscles. He doesn't need bigger legs. He doesn't need
definitely defer to your expertise. I don't think it will hurt. I think that we've seen fighters throughout there who like with Oscar De La Hoya's and who were kind of, with smaller legs, but I won't kind of get into that. But with the casual Rand, so from seeing this fight, do you think that I guess the natural next step is to fight Andy Ruiz or whatnot? So do you see that as the next fight? Do you how do you see this playing out within the heavyweight division?
Yeah, I think that's already been set. I think the WBC's it is going to force a Wilder Ruiz fight. as a title eliminator, which makes sense. But and to the point y'all was just making with Boston Jerry, I understand what Cameron was saying, but my thing is, if you put him up against a Eddie Munster type fighter, a big fighter that just like look like he just
like Joe Joyce,
Rock'em Sock'em Robot, Wilder's gonna look great. But if you put him like let's go back in time, put Wilder against any like Emmanuel Stewart type fighter. And see at that lightweight with those skinny legs, if that same technique works with them, and I don't think it does. I just think that anybody that can throw a punch and move, be a little bit agile and can avoid a right hand once or twice is going to give Wilder a lot of problems.
Yeah, but that guy is not out there.
Right now, the guy is not out there. I think
maybe Usyk. I don't think Usyk
might give him a little bit of problem. I haven't seen enough about Jared Anderson that's coming out of the United States. But any heavyweight that can throw a punch and can like move his head a little bit is going to give Wilder a problem, man. I just think I thought in this fight, I was looking at him and he was on his bicycle a lot. And just off the little shitty time that he had, and I'm like, as a heavyweight, that's not going to work, man. Because if he get caught, he gonna fold.
Well, we know that was his plan, though. Apparently, right? So they planned on that. It wasn't like he got forced onto his bike. At least that's what they said.
That it looks like that was his plan. But I at heavyweight, man, that I don't think that's a long-term winning plan.
I mean, even when he can just if that right hand gets anywhere near you, motherfuckers fall over.
I just think that I don't know if there are, any fighter outside of Tyson Fury that you would favor over Deontay Wilder. But
and you talk about guys that outweigh him by 30 pounds, 25 pounds. 40 pounds. Tyson Fury had 50 pounds on this dude, 40 pounds. He's touching him with technically unsound punches, arm punches, and he's flattening these guys. Can you imagine if he hit somebody his own size? Can you imagine if he hits Ruiz or if he catches Usyk clean?
So with that said, I mean, I would that would be hard to catch Usyk clean the way he moves his head and moves his feet.
Is it? I mean,
I never thought. I think Usyk can get touched.
He can. He certainly can. Usyk is not Pernell fucking Whitaker. He's not Wilfred Benitez out there, man. He defends with his feet a lot, but his head is there. And he's gotten better about. He takes his head offline somewhat, but he defends with his feet a lot using angles.
I don't like.
That's what I've seen. If you think you've seen something different,
I mean, he's only been dropped by body punches, so I haven't really seen him caught flush. He got dropped early in his career, but he got dropped by body punches. But Coach, so let's go to Coach. So Coach actually picked the upset. I don't know if it was to get views or not, but we do. we do appreciate you for doing that. But do you were you impressed with Deontay Wilder? And just kind of give your comments about if you were training him, do you think that you would ask him to kind of build up his lower body or just not mess with this recipe, which has been successful 97% of the time?
Yeah, man. Well, yeah, man. I think I was just playing devil's advocate, man. I think we even kind of talked in the last segment. I said, man, Wilder gonna probably knock this fool out. What I was hoping though, man, is like, whoever had mentioned it earlier, this guy lunged, reached with that right hand and got counter and went to sleep, man. I was hoping that your boy could just box and work behind that jab. You didn't see Tyson Fury swimming and falling into punches, falling in and throwing his right right hand, his right leg coming forward. So he closing the distance. You didn't see Tyson doing all. You saw Tyson working behind that jab, clinching, and boxing. I thought HELENIUS could at least try to do that, man. So no, I wouldn't mess with the recipe, man. And look, let me tell y'all something too, man. Look, man, Wilder fights how he fights. We've seen enough of what happened in that camp when he first got with Malik Scott. We saw all the stuff that Malik Scott was trying to teach him to do, and anybody can do anything on pads and the body shield and the heavy bag and look good. But even in the Tyson fight, when the going got tough and the rounds came in and fatigue set in, he went back to fighting how he fights. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So and that's just who we're gonna see. So if somebody take him into deep waters or whatever, he's gonna revert back to what he knows. But even what he knows was enough to still knock a joker out. What, 39 and or something like that, So you just gonna have to, God may have gave this man, one bullet, but that joker accurate with that bullet, and you can't deny. You just can't deny it. That right hand, if it grazes you, gonna knock you out. So here's my take on stuff. What is going to take? I don't know if it was Randy or Boston that said, a fighter that can move, get his head off the line, and box a little bit is going to give going to give Wilder problem. I totally agree. I like Jared Anderson. I just haven't seen him elusive enough to where he's that guy just yet. I think Wilder stops him. I don't think he's elusive enough. I think Ruiz, all right. So if Ruiz wasn't such a daggone donut, and if he, it's gonna take a shorter fighter, it's gonna take a shorter fighter with the skill set and agility and head movement of Smoking Joe Frazier. I mean, just to slip and bob, and Joe was getting up in there, twisting them hooks off on jokers, you know what I'm saying? So, and Ruiz got the height, but he just still, that navel is just in the way. You know what I'm saying? That joker got the navel just pulling him down. You know what I'm saying? That joker, looked like he had Thanksgiving for breakfast at time. You just don't know what he's going to come in at. So I'm with the casual Rand and saying right now, heavyweight division, I just don't see nobody doing it, man. I'm trying, and honestly, right now, it is about defense, head movement, and mounting an attack in that order.
Yeah,
it's about defense, head movement, and being able to mount an attack to beat this guy. I like how Ortiz was able to slip in and hurt Wilder a little bit, but that was coming from a southpaw aim.
Yeah, and a master, supreme boxer from that Cuban.
With hundreds of amateur fights, you know.
Right.
How do you think Andy Ruiz does against Wilder?
I think he gets hit on top of the head, and then I think he gets caught with an uppercut. I think he goes to sleep.
Ooh, yeah. I think after he gets hit on top of the head, I think he's asleep after that shit. I mean, we saw Chris Arreola put him down.
It could go either way, man. I hope Wilder wouldn't hurt his hand. I hope Wilder wouldn't hit, but I see Ruiz getting hit right here, man. And then I just somehow see, and Wilder's not known for an uppercut. He got a wild slanging hook. When he dropped Fury, when Fury kind of rose up from the dead. But that hook followed after that brick hand touched him. Rap. You know what I'm saying?
He actually, I mean, it was wild and swinging. I don't know how planned, but he actually knocked out. He actually knocked out Ortiz with an uppercut in their first fight. He had hurt him earlier, and then the one that.
That's right.
But it was so I can see a ugly uppercut catching Ortiz. Catching Ruiz, man. Joe Joyce picking out anybody from he just stops these guys, man. If anybody has a chance, I would say that it would be a seasoned, I would say it would be a developed, focused Jared Anderson.
I wouldn't mind seeing Joe. I mean, Joyce gets hit a lot. I've just never even seen him even hardly take a back step.
Yeah, that's a big, strong
That
joker.
is a juggernaut. I would love to see that. And Wilder, his punches are a little. Well, Robert Helenius was about the same height, but it's a little bit different when you're not punching down. I would like to see that fight.
I just think
I don't think they'll do that now.
Faster than Joe Joyce, and he moves a little bit more, and he'll sit down and just rock his ass with that right when he walks his ass in.
Yeah, but what happens if he? Because listen, we've seen Wilder hit somebody, and we've seen him Stervain last 12 rounds. So what happens when you keep hitting this dude, and then what happens when you don't get him out there? What happens to his psyche?
Yes, it's a question we're gonna have to find out. I mean,
I would love to see that.
Well, we know his power. Go ahead, Dave.
Knocked down Fury.
You said what, Dave?
Look at how many times he knocked down Fury. So we see what happens when he hits somebody and don't get him out there. As long as that person is fights back, I just don't know who got the heart of Fury out there, and the chin, and the wheel and drive of Fury. He knocks Joyce out. He puts that joker to sleep.
I would like to see that. I don't know now. I don't know. I would like to see it. Joyce is still a bit raw, but it's intriguing, and we know that Joyce is going to get hit. He's going to get hit flush. And
Joyce is going to be raw because Joyce is 38 years old or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it has to happen now, right? It has to happen like soon. But maybe. Because the only way that you can sell another fight, against Fury is you bring him over to England, have him knock out Joe Joyce, right, in front of at the O2, and then have Tyson ring.
What do you mean? Sell? What do you mean? Sell
Wilder.
Wilder Fury 4?
Yeah. I mean, who? Because there's nobody else out there.
The only way he gets that fight,
I think
he has to beat Usyk. If he gets the Usyk fight, beats Usyk and becomes a unified champ, now Fury has a chance to become undisputed against the guy he's arguably beaten 3 times. That's the only way, and Fury still might not fight him.
And then you see that Usyk is starting to backpedal. Usyk is like, yo, I think I want to try to get with Fury. So I don't think that ever happens. I think Usyk.
Well, I don't know if that's backpedaling. I would say he's forward pedaling because the Fury fight is for undisputed.
Usyk was the one who said that he'll entertain a Wilder fight. He was going to come to New York to sit there and say he'll fight him.
Yeah,
then the guy who makes the decisions, Aegis Clemus, came out and said after that very specifically that Deontay Wilder is not the priority. Very, very specific.
All right, guys. So with that said, we are about at our time. This was a lot to talk about, so we went a little bit longer for the show. But with that said, I want to remind everybody to go and like and subscribe. This does a lot for our algorithm. We are just bringing our show back to YouTube. We have a producer. We have some graphics. We have some different kind of segues and stuff into the show, but we need those followers. So with that said, this is Professor Nim signing out for Coach Dave. The Casual Rand.
Peace out.
And Boston Jared.
Peace.
And we are